Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome back to Embrace Life Boldly. I am your life coach, Tammy Ward, and welcome to 2022. It has been way too long, and I'm sure most of you are like, oh my gosh, when are you going to submit your next podcast? I know I've received a lot of messages, a lot of people saying, oh my gosh, we haven't heard from you in a while. What's going on? And I just want to say thank you, first off, for your patience with me. I was definitely going through a lot of rebirths, a lot of relearning, a lot of times where I needed to ask questions to myself, to my guides, and just make sure I'm on the right playing field and the right part of myself to be able to give myself, and be of the best service for the highest good. And so, welcome back. It's good to be here. It's good to be back. It's good to be back on my YouTube for you all that are watching. Good to be back on my podcast for you all that are listening. It was so funny today because earlier today I was thinking about the podcast and I was thinking about the YouTube, and I feel literally like sometimes I'm just like in the car next to you driving somewhere. Like I just feel like I am with you when I'm having these conversations, and whether we're sitting at a coffee shop, a bar, in the car, walking on a beautiful trail in nature, I just feel like I'm there with you. And that's the most beautiful part about it. And I think the reason why I feel so connected there is because I always have my guides and my insights and my higher self with me. And that makes me just feel so comforting that there's always others with me that love me, and I am loving myself through these social media outlets, so that way you feel love and you feel the energy, because energy is everywhere. Energy in vibration, energy in money, energy in voice, energy in words, energy in everything. And I want you to be able to feel that energy with me. And so for this 2022, you're going to see a lot more YouTube videos. You're going to see a lot more podcasts, because I have now received so much insight to be able to share with you. And that is the most beautiful part, right? It is my mission in life to be of service to myself and others. And doing these podcasts and doing this social media, it helps me just as much as I am hoping, well, no, I'm not going to use the word hope, that I know that the energy is coming across to you. And so there you go. When the new year comes, as we such are in 2022, I have received tons of downloads in the sense that 2022 is going to be an eye-opening experience for so many people. Whether it be because, we're going through pandemics, whether it be eye-opening to what the information and the energy we are receiving from other outlets are bringing to us. And I know there's a lot of you that do resolutions. I'm not big with resolutions, mainly because I feel like it coincides with the word resolve, and I don't need to resolve anything. I look at each new year as a rebirth, a rebirth of what I can experience next in life. What are the things that I can release and let go, and what are the things that I can bring to this world? I usually use a word, and that word usually sets my intention and guides me to where I'm going to go. Last year, it was the word ask. I utilized ask in every sense of the word that it is. I asked guides. I asked friends, family. I asked people of things, because my whole life, I didn't ask anybody for anything. I felt like I was on my own most of the time. And so I really wanted to utilize the word ask to know that the only way for me to receive the things that I need is to be able to ask of others, and ask of myself, and ask of the universal light and the divine source. And I did that, and it was so beautiful and so eye-opening and so rejoiceful that, I guess if you guys listen back to a lot of my podcasts, you will see and hear some of that. And from that, I received the word for the year from my higher self, which is release. I want to release the demons that are no longer needed in my human experience, and such as triggers, traumas, PTSD from the military, traumas from my abandonment. I want to release those heavy feelings and bring them into a light to where it can be resourceful. It can be rejoiceful. It can be happy. It can be a lesson learned. And that's really what I want to do. Because I truly believe that when we speak of energy, we can shift our mindset, and shifting that mindset can bring so much joy. Just in the sense of when we shift our thoughts, when we start to think negative, you need to be able to shift your thoughts, be like, whoa, I don't want to talk to myself that way. Let me get my fishing pole. Let me reel it back in. And so that way you can form a better, loving way to speak to yourself. And that is what this year is about for me. And I'm just going to give you a pause of silence and give love to you, just so you can think of your word, so you can think of your intentions for this year, and sending you love and light with that. Pure love and light. Beautiful, beautiful. I know that a lot of us have heard many times about self-love, self-care, and self-trust. And I think there's so many different definitions of all three of those things. Here is my definition from Embrace Life. This is my definition because as I was embracing life boldly, I developed these understandings of what self-love, self-care, and self-trust is all about. And that's one huge thing I definitely coach in my coaching business, are those three things, because it's often that we don't even know. We weren't ever taught these things. And so I am here now to teach, to speak, to bring light to all these things. Self-love, I know a lot of people think about self-love as in like, okay, let me go and walk in nature or get a massage or, be in solitude with myself. And I think in some ways it partly is. I think any time that we can give ourselves love in any capacity, it is a joyful moment. But I go deeper with that. I embrace it more by understanding that self-love is about the intentions and the thoughts that you create while you're in those moments, right? While you're in the moments of getting a massage, while you're in the moments of nature, while you're in the moments of solitude. What are the thoughts that you are telling yourself? What are the energies that you are shifting to be able to really be in that moment? And that to me is true self-love, is to like be still, be one with yourself, be in that moment that is just beautiful and thriving for you. Self-care is the same. Self-care is making sure that you are caring enough about yourself that you can be in a sense of a judge-free zone, a non-critical zone, loving yourself enough to where you can love others for whomever they are and not allow their energies to affect you, right? That to me is what self-care is. Self-trust is leaning into your intuition, leaning into your higher self, leaning into and believing that the chaos is meant for a reason, that there's a lesson in everything to be learned, that every trigger you have to trust the process and understand that if things keep cycling back in your life, you need to trust yourself enough with your energy to be able to move outside it, to be able to switch things up, to shift that mindset, to transform and transition into a person who wants to respond to chaos, not react to chaos. And to me, that is what self-love, self-care, and self-trust is. And again, a lot of the reasons why we're unable to go deeper with that practice of self-love, self-care, and self-trust is due to our triggers and traumas that we have gained, whether in childhood, middlehood, adulthood, old agehood, whichever way it is. I mean, every phase of life, there are triggers and traumas, right? And it's about how you have attached them to you so deeply that they're almost like a blanket for you. Triggers and chaos and all that becomes a blanket. And being able to move all of that energy is to be able to like release that blanket off you and to give yourself the comforter of comfort and compassion and love. And I know for me, I understood that my abandonment as a child, the strict and controlling parents that I had, even with friends and guardians and teachers that were out there, there's strict rules, there's strict understanding. These behaviors from others, no matter if they occurred in your childhood or your young adult life, they caused the learned behavior of wanting and needing to achieve or to be able to take care of other people besides yourself first, which could lead to a possible relationship with narcissistic or abusive people in your life. And I know that was definitely for me, until I began to grow in my spiritual self and love myself deeper, care for myself, trust myself deeper. I was in relationships that were, loving, but yet deceitful and lies and abuse and narcissistic ways of living. And it took me a long time to understand that a lot of the traumas that I have gone through is causing me to attach myself to those people. It's almost like I look for it. And I know if you think back on your life, and even in the current situation you're in, you would see that as well. Like some of the things that you have been, these learned behaviors that you have accepted and attached with that blanket. Remember that blanket I'm talking about? You have covered yourself up in those learned behaviors that you think that's all that's there, that's all that is possible. And it's not, right? It's so not. I mean, my childhood was full of abandonment, when my parents were around. And when my parents were around, they were very strict in religion and judgment on others, which helped me understand that there's a difference between religion and then there's a difference between the divine source and God and Jesus. There's a difference between the two. Religion is like a system, and the divine source and God, or whomever you call it, Buddha, Shangri, whomever it is for you, that is the practice, is their truth. But I got off course there. With those strict parents of that teaching of religion and judgment on others, this led me to pick partners who were truly never there for me, right? And who were adamant about what they needed and what they wanted, and rather than us working together of what we both needed or what we both wanted. And from there, begins to understand the behaviors that we build on self-judgment, on how we judge ourselves all the time. I mean, from the moment I would wake up, I would be judging myself. From the moment I went to bed, I would be judging myself. What I didn't do today, what I didn't accomplish today, what didn't I get right today, what didn't happen for me today. It'd be all those things. And, self-judgments is just basically thoughts you have about yourself. And then you add meaning to them, right? You add energy to them, which in the end causes mountains of anxiety, anger, depression, you name it. It's there. And so, the reason we have self-judgment is because we are deciding to listen to our thoughts instead of taking action on our thoughts. And by not taking action, it will result in more and more doubt, more and more anxiety, more and more immobilization. So generally, self-judgment will want you to protect you from rejection and failure. Like, say, the words of like, if I judge myself enough, I can motivate myself to do things right and succeed. If I judge myself enough, if I beat myself up about something, then I'll get tired and start doing something about it. Well, look, that is not the way to go. I'm telling you right now, because all you're doing is adding that negative energy of self-judgment into whatever actionable thing that you're wanting to do. And so, and plus, I feel like motivation is just a word. I mean, let me go back. Let me really speak from the heart here. I feel it's not about desiring motivation to get you started. I don't think, okay, I need motivation to get started. I need motivation to do this. I need motivation. I truly believe, and I put my faith in knowing that once you take that first step towards the goal you want, motivation will automatically appear. And that's what I mean by taking action. Earlier, we talked about taking action with your thoughts. And that's what I mean. Like, people are always saying, oh my gosh, I just need to find some motivation. I need to find somebody who will motivate me. Well, you already have that within you. You just got to take that first step, that first actionable step to that goal, whatever you're wanting to do. And then it will come. And that's how it happens. And so, yeah, of course, I have a lot of clients, and even myself talked about, like, how do I put it into self-judgment? How do I put it into years and years and years of automatic routine of thinking this way? And I think first and foremost, we have to get comfortable with our emotions. We have to allow our emotions to flow through us. We have to say, okay, here you are, anger, anxiety, depression, whatever emotion you're feeling, and say, I feel you here. I'm going to take action and tell you where I want you to go. I don't want you to control my actions or my response or my reaction to things. That not to get caught up in the chaos of your thoughts, but instead get comfortable with your emotions and just let them flow through you. I like to give them a name. As you guys know, I like to give all my emotions a name. Like, anger is Leonard. Sadness is Sabrina. My depression is Leroy. I mean, it's one of these things where I give them names so that way when they pop up, there's a familiarity there, that I know who it is. I know what emotion I'm feeling, and therefore there I can then have a conversation with it and let it just flow through. I mean, I try that if you haven't before. Just try that first step, so that way you can end that self-judgment and that self-talk, that negative self-talk that you're giving to yourself. I also like to look at situations from the outside in. Our whole lives we're taught about external things, external validation, external love, external acceptance, external everything. But if we look at a situation from the outside, here it is on the outside, but we look at it inward in the sense of, like, is this of service to me? Are these words I'm saying to myself of self-judgment of service to me? Is that right? Should I be doing this, right? Why am I doing this? What is causing this to happen? Look at somebody flipping you off in a car, as in, like, think about and have compassion for them for a second. Like, whether you cut them off or whether you're going too slow, they're in a state of chaos, triggering, and trauma. Right? So how about in that moment, you just give that person love instead of flipping them off back or screaming them back or giving your excuse of why you had to cut them off or that you didn't see them or however it may be in your own mind. How about just for that moment, you take that situation and you just give it love. Just give it love and energy. Because I guarantee you from there, it'll bring joy into your thoughts and you take action on what you want the energy to be in that moment. With self-judgment, I think being still and mindful is a big key to hearing your thoughts. Because listen, what is that phrase where it says, oh man, I always forget this shit. Where it's like, you're not the voice, you don't hear the voice in your head, you're listening to it. Meaning that the difference between hearing and listening is, like, you're listening to it like it's a teacher. Like, okay, I'll believe that. Okay, that's what's happening. And so be still and mindful, about your thoughts and about the way you're judging yourself. And, would you say that to your kid, to your best friend, to your mom, to your grandma, to your dad, to your dog? I don't care. Would you say it to someone else like that? And if you wouldn't, then don't say it to yourself, right? I mean, that's the number one key, right? Understand that your feelings exist for a reason. There's a lesson in everything. So if you're feeling something and it's coming up, understand that it exists there for a reason. There's a reason why we have fear of walking down the dark alley, right? Because it's like, holy shit. But there's also a reason why we fear public speaking, because we haven't gained the tools to be able to be loving ourselves enough to not care what other people think and just speak your truth, right? Be the best friend to yourself. Be that best friend you always want. You know how, like, I know so many times in my life, I used to say all the time, like, oh my gosh, I'm helping so many people, but when I turn around, there's no one there for me, and I was like, okay, well, why don't I start being that person for me? why don't I start loving myself deeper? Why don't I start journaling and having conversations with myself, so that way I'm not judging not having friends. I'm not sitting there going through the self-judgment ridicule about how I don't have close friends. I can be my own close friend. And I know that seems like isolation, or that seems a little far-fetched, but truly, if you are your own best friend, and how you treat yourself will just show on the outside. Whatever you give to the world, you get back. Whatever you give to the world. So if you go out to the world and you complain and think about how your family treated you this way, how your mom and dad, your siblings are still beating you up because of this, how your coworkers and your job is horrible, I mean, you're going to receive that back. The universe is going to say, okay, here you go. Still keep doing it. But if you go out there in that mindset of like, oh my God, I love that I get to show up today for me. I can show up for me today in every relationship. Or I can say, I don't want that relationship anymore. Whatever you choose for you. Look around you. Do you have people in your life that enhance you? That give you reason to like want to be around them? Or is it just like a cordial lollygagging kind of thing? Love and respect who you are. Love and respect who you are. No matter the struggles, no matter the challenges, no matter the joys, no matter the happiness. Love and respect who you are. Once you begin to do that, self-judgment will just fade away. But it's always going to be there, right? It may fade in that moment, but know that all your emotions, your anger, your anxiety, your fears, your stress, your self-judgment, all of that is always going to lie within you. But also what lies within you is love and joy and happiness and choice. That also is within you. Because in my personal and business life, I have understood that the number one thing to put an end to self-judgment is to add a new thought, to add a new positive, energetic thought. However, it could be tricky, right? It's not hard. It's not easy. It's just tricky, right? Our consciousness has developed all these learned behaviors. And so it automatically just goes there. It's like our mind is an automatic machine. You think something, it says, oh yay, I remember that. Let me give you all these emotions because of it, right? So you have to like really get to know it, become its best friend. And when you hear yourself talking shit to yourself, stop listening. Tell your mind what to think. By doing that, you will create a way that is more beyond the subsurface of self-love, self-care, and self-trust. You will begin to self-accept. You'll begin to be selfish. And it's okay to be selfish. We should all be more selfish, right? We all should. I'm being serious with you here. We should all be more selfish, right? Because how can I be the best version of me and be there for you? Or how can I be there for you if I'm not the best version of myself, right? I want to be. I want to have joy. I want to have love. I want to have family, friends, gatherings. I want all of that, right? How can I do that if I'm constantly tearing myself down and telling myself I'm not worthy to have these things? You are limitless. I am limitless. And it's a beautiful fucking thing. So be selfish, right? You don't need to be selfish and mean at the same time. You don't need to be selfish and scream, this is what you need. I mean, be selfish on a level to where you are shifting your mindset. You are transforming your old self to your new self. Or maybe you're just adding more spiritual guidance to your life, whichever it may be for you. I mean, that's truly what's up right there. I mean, that is self-judgment. Those are the best tools I can give you when it comes to self-judgment. And I know it's hard, and that's why I'm an intuitive life coach, right? That is why I have clients that ask for guidance to be able to remove self-judgment from them. We talk about it. We learn new habits. We begin to build better patterns of behavior, more extreme, deeper thoughts to be able to love self and be a part of that. And so if you're ready for that, let me know. And I would love to hear, what are some of your thoughts on self-judgment? What are some of your thoughts on self-love and self-care? Let the 2022 be the year where you listen to something, take it in, and comment back, right? Be that person that is looking for more answers. Ask yourself deeper questions. Release the past. It is no longer of service to you. 2021 is gone. Gone. So let's take each day and be better. There's a saying I like to say where it says, I say I am getting better and better every day. You know, I think every day is a beautiful day to grow, right? And every day is a day that we can just let go of what happened the day before. And that's what's up. So there you go, guys. You know where to find me at www.coach-tammy.com. I am all over the place on Facebook, social media. Look me up. Look in the show notes here. You'll see where you can get a hold of me. And in the meantime, keep loving, keep growing, and keep embracing life.